Hello and welcome to a special edition of the B2M2 podcast. Mitch and I are doing a Skype conversation for this go-around. And before we go any further, we just want to give a shout-out to the mysterious liker on the YouTube page. Anything you want to say to them, Mitch?
I want to give a thumbs up right back at you.
That's what I like to hear. Okay, so let's just dive right into this week. Lots of stuff to talk about. So we leave off with Jacosta's eviction from the double eviction, and we get a flashback with Derek and Cody, who had joined into the Rationale Alliance, and they pull Hayden and Nicole aside and blame Victoria for Jacosta being evicted. They said they didn't have the numbers to do it, and they had to keep Zach around. So they're just doing some damage control there. This is all just because the double eviction is crazy. They're showing sort of a massive previously. So we also see Nicole breaking down in the bathroom with Donnie after Hayden's gone, and they say that it's just the two of them against the rest of the house.
Yeah, but everyone's been down that road before with Donnie.
Oh yeah,
he's always there to just be a shoulder to cry on, but everyone always says after that he can't be trusted.
I don't get it, but anyways, we also get a flashback of Frankie, Christine, Hayden, and Nicole making an alliance. And this causes some massive waves later on because Nicole and Hayden both called out Frankie and Christine for doing this. Frankie says they never made the alliance legit, but this sort of starts Frankie's downfall for the week.
Yeah, I think, again, this is just another alliance of four people randomly in a room together and forming an alliance. We've seen that at least two other times throughout the season where it's just we're all in a room together, let's form an alliance. It's
crazy. This cast just loves to do it. Then Derek and Cody are sort of admiring their work. They're really the ones that caused all of this fallout because it was really them being the swing votes and deciding who was going to go. But no, they're throwing everyone else under the bus. No one's catching on to Derek and Cody. And it seems like they're in complete control right now.
For sure. I mean, every week they haven't been nominated ever at all, and they don't seem to be on anybody's radar. Very smooth. I think it's a lot to do with, I'm not going to give Cody a lot of credit. I think it's a lot to do with Derek.
I'm loving Derek's gameplay. I think he's brilliant right now.
He's got it in the bag for sure.
So with Frankie and Christine being accused of doing all this double talk and all this, Caleb's starting to distrust both of them. He says there has to be something up when Hayden and Nicole both say the exact same things word for word in their speeches. So Caleb, Beast Mode Cowboy, your favorite nickname there,
worst nickname,
is catching on to these two fellow. Well, no, actually, he's not in the detonators, but two fellow bomb squad members. So the new HOH challenge is a head-to-head bracket-style competition. A question is asked, and you either buzz in with A or B. And then it was actually really funny because when the bracket was made up, every single matchup was one of my people versus one of your people.
Oh, I didn't notice that. I just noticed I had the final four.
Yeah, every single one was me versus you, and then you won every single matchup. I just destroyed my point total. But anyways, Nicole and Christine end up winning it.
It was good to see finally two enemies as HOHs, because we've seen throughout this whole double HOH concept that they've just agreed to work together and they've gotten along this whole time. But now, two people who don't like each other are HOHs together.
Nicole and Christine did sort of make up. I don't think either of them were sincere about it. They told each other they wouldn't backdoor one another. That was just to cover themselves. But Immediately after Nicole wins this competition, Frankie goes into the beehive room with her and tells her that he's been working with the other side of the house. He totally exposes Zach, Caleb, Cody, and Derek. And then he says that he and Christine can flip over and totally change the balance of power in the house. That was nuts. And again, it just sort of led to Frankie's downfall this week. Even though he didn't get evicted, he's sort of on the ropes.
The one thing he said that I liked was that he said, "Oh, the detonators, like these are the detonators, but they cut me out of it." So I mean, it gave somewhat believable, I guess, reason for what he did this week.
So after Frankie and Nicole are done with their conversation, Zach goes and starts talking to her. Nicole says how she doesn't trust Zach because he's always just ratting people out and can't keep a secret. But then Zach tells Nicole all about the detonators. And then Nicole tells Zach that she was in an alliance with Cody. My mind is being blown at this point in the week. I mean, all the cards are on the table. Everything's coming out.
Yeah, Zach tells Nicole, and then he tells Victoria about the detonators.
Right.
And, like, I know it's a strategy to be, like, a loudmouth and stuff, but you can still be that guy and not expose your whole game to everybody. It's two things you can separate when you're talking to people.
So it comes out about what Frankie told Nicole. So Zach, of course, being the loudmouth that he is, runs and gives this information back to Caleb, and everyone just despises Frankie at this point. Zach, Frankie's best friend, says that Frankie's dead to him. It's just a mess. And then Caleb tells Derek and Cody. It's nuts. So Derek then tells Nicole about a plan to throw the Battle of the Block. They say put Zach up with Frankie. Zach's going to throw it. Frankie will go home. But that doesn't end up happening. Caleb instead volunteers to go next to Frankie. And Nicole trusts Caleb to do it because he's more trustworthy at this point than Zach is. So Christine nominates Donnie and Zach. And then Nicole nominates Caleb and Frankie. Zach says he's not...
Sorry, with that, Nicole, like, why did she... Whatever, when Donnie got nominated, it was just like, why Donnie when everybody was talking about, like, this was the week they were going to put up all the big names, like Cody and Derek and Frankie and, like, Caleb and Zach. But that was a bit frustrating, but I mean, good for Victoria. She stayed off the block this week.
Yeah, very true. And, well, this was a line that Zach says that sort of got me. Obviously, he's just being dramatic, but he says he's not going to talk to Frankie or Christine for the rest of the summer. Then immediately I'm thinking, like, okay, what if you're in the finals, Frankie and Christine are going to be on the jury, so you're just not going to speak to them? Like, you can't win if you do this.
You can't live in that house and not talk to anybody. What else are you going to do, right?
Yeah. So the actual Battle of the Block is a football theme. Ravens versus Steelers. You have to work as a team, first of all, and move these balls sort of like up into different slots on the field, and the winners get to go on this NFL trip outside of the house. Drama continues when Frankie knows that Caleb's going to throw it just by looking at him. Since they have such a tight bond, Frankie can tell just looking at Caleb before the competition that Caleb's throwing it. Caleb says, he confirms it and says, yeah, you're going to have to play this one by yourself. But it's actually hilarious because Frankie actually ends up winning the competition on his own.
That was crazy. It was because I was watching, I'm like, okay, like, there's no way he can do this by himself. And then as I was watching, and I'm like, Caleb should have just grabbed onto the other rope the whole time and just held it down.
Exactly.
So Frankie couldn't have moved it. It would have guaranteed a loss. But yeah. I also noticed that aside from the first Battle of the Block with the swings and the water and the Harry Potter one, most of them, it seems like one person was able to do it by themselves. Like with the domino one and all the other ones. One person could have done it by themselves. So I guess it depends on what's going on. But Yeah, Caleb should have just held on to the chain for sure.
Yeah, he didn't really think that went through, but
I didn't think it was possible though. I was like, okay. I only realized it halfway through that when Frankie almost might have pulled it off, that he should have just held on to the rope.
Well, it seemed like Donnie and Zach were like dominating. Didn't they have like 3 in before Frankie got 1?
Yeah, but I guess there's obviously a learning curve.
I guess.
And as it got higher and higher, I think they started to panic, and it was obviously harder to get the balls that were higher up than the ones lower down.
Anyway, so yeah, Frankie wins. He's safe for the week. Couldn't have come at a better time for him. I think he would have been on his way out if he hadn't won.
Yeah, this was a good time to start getting lucky this week, and then he ends up winning HLH also.
But after the competition, Frankie yells out, "Go Team Grande, that one's for you, Ariana." And as we'll find out later in the week, this wasn't accidental, it was completely planned. He wants to reveal to everyone. Anyways, after the competition, Frankie and Zach just blow up at each other even more. The Zanky relationship appears to be done. It gets a little better as the week goes on, but it's still on the rocks. Caleb then calls out Frankie about saying that they should put up Cody, Derek, Zach, and Caleb. But Derek, being the calm guy he is, sees this conversation going on, pulls everyone into a separate room so that no one else can hear this conversation. Anyways, once they're all in the fire room, Frankie admits to the guys that he's a YouTube personality and, quote, a social media mogul. And
his sister is a mega pop.
Yeah. They don't. Some of them believe it, some of them don't. What did you think of the move to admit it all?
I mean, his back was against the wall, right? He didn't have much else. This was sort of the one, I guess, trump card in a way that he had. And then, so I guess it's like trying to do damage control by like diverting the attention away from the game versus to like outside life. And then it was also funny because Derek was like, most of us are who we say we are. Because he's also lying about what his job is. Yeah. And then Frankie at the end, he's like, I'm donating all my winnings to charity as like another way to just like stay in the house. And
that really strikes a chord with Zach. Zach was not a fan of that. Zach's just in the diary room, like, I don't remember if he was crying, but he was...
Yeah, he was crying.
Okay, he was very upset. And he's like, why am I here? I'm wasting my time. He's obviously going to win if he's playing for charity. Like, it was... Do you think he's actually playing for charity?
Yeah. Okay. Not directly, but, like, if he donated some of his money to charity, it wouldn't surprise me.
Maybe his Team America winnings. I don't know.
This guy's a social media mogul, man.
That's
you
true.
Gotta remember.
So now it's time to break the news to the girls. So he tells them the news, and the camera just zooms in on Victoria's face, and she is blown away. Her jaw literally drops, and then she lets out this high-pitched squeal.
It was the happiest I've seen her the entire game.
It was really nice to see. But Christine doesn't think this was a very smart move for Frankie. She thinks that he's going to get backlash from it, and Victoria doesn't think it was smart either, even though now she's going to be able to listen to Ariana's music in the HOH room.
Can you name one other Ariana Grande song besides Problem?
Bang Bang.
Oh, true. But she's only a feature on that one, right?
Oh, is she?
Whatever. All you gotta know is that every song is a hit.
I don't know any of her earlier stuff. Have you listened to her earlier stuff, or is this her?
Does she have earlier stuff?
I don't know. We might have to have someone comment on this in the comment section.
Her discography.
Yeah, because we're
What's
unaware.
What's your favorite Ariana Grande tune?
Yeah, let us know.
We'll save that for another podcast.
So speaking of Victoria, it's brought to our attention that Derek has actually been taking her under his wing for a while now. That this, at least to me, sort of explains why she turned on Hayden and voted him out. We didn't know that she was really close with Derek. I thought her main alliance was to Hayden, but I don't think it is. Like, we see a montage of Derek, he's just like sitting with her when she's crying, throughout the whole season, it
I
seemed.
guarantee you could make a montage of any other person with Victoria and the same sort of montage that they made with Derek.
I don't know, Caleb?
Maybe not Caleb, but like I think you could do it with a lot of the other people left in the house.
But Derek tells Victoria that he's going to go to the end with her. He doesn't actually plan on doing this, but he says if for some reason Cody is evicted, at least he has a backup plan.
That's true. I guess no one ever went to that extent to be like, oh, I'm going to take you to the final two with me. Everyone's just like, oh, it's okay, like, stop crying.
Everyone should take her to the final two, though.
Yeah, guaranteed win.
Guaranteed win. Although, Zach and Victoria, who do you think wins?
No, Zach would win.
Okay. So on to
anyone left could win against Victoria. Even Jocasta would win against Victoria.
Bold. But anyways, on to the veto competition. It's Derek, Caleb, and Nicole who are picked, and it's the OTEV challenge. This one's actually, if not my favorite, definitely top 3 challenges. It's Zach and Caleb in the final round. Zach says to Caleb, you're already safe. If you want to take your time getting this last card, I'd really appreciate it. But Caleb doesn't. He actually tries to win, but Zach ends up winning anyway.
It was worth a shot.
It was. Sort of see.
I mean, who else would have been, like, maybe Victoria? I don't know. Then Donnie and Victoria on the block again. Donnie would have gone home probably.
Yeah. Zach. So now that Zach has a little bit of power here, him and Frankie start to make up, or so we think. Zach says that he's feeling like his wife has cheated on him, but Zach admits in the diary room that he's just acting, and if he gets a chance, he's going to take Frankie out. Do you think he actually means that?
I think, yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people are gunning for Frankie now. I think Zach and Frankie are pretty much the 2 biggest targets in the house. It's funny how Caleb was that guy, but he seems to have been overtaken by Zach and Frankie.
So Zach then tries to form an alliance with Victoria, and Zach, again blabbering, tells her absolutely everything. And Victoria is really hurt because she thought she had this thing going with Derek, and now she feels betrayed. Zach, hearing this, starts to stick up for Derek, which was awesome for my game. So thanks for doing that, Zach. And then Zach admits that he regrets telling Victoria this information. Then Zach again starts blabbering and says how Nicole was the one who told Victoria about the detonators. He tells this to Derek, but Derek is a cop. He's good at reading people, but he admits that even if he wasn't a cop, he'd be able to tell that Zach was lying. So, of course, he's straight up. So he calls Nicole and Victoria up to I think it was the HOH room, and clears everything up.
Yeah, that's definitely the way to go, is to get everybody who's involved in the same room together.
Yeah.
And see sort of what stories match up and where the cracks lie.
So once that happens, Zach admits that he was the one who was lying, and that was that. Team America, we hadn't heard about them in a while. It was just briefly touched on. The mission this week was to convince someone to be a pawn and then actually end up voting them out. This was only like a 1-minute clip, and all 3 of them said they weren't going to do it this week.
Yeah, just as I was wondering, I'm like, oh, yeah, Team America, what happened to that? Then they show the 1-minute thing with Donnie and the rest of them.
So Christine was actually planning on putting up Victoria as the replacement nom, but the guys didn't want this to happen. The guys wanted Nicole up. So Caleb goes and tells Christine this lie that Nicole, if she won the HOH, she was actually going to backdoor Christine. And funny moment, Caleb makes reference. He says, I've got to tell this lie to protect my bomb squad. And I was like, wow, he's still oblivious to everything. Poor guy.
Credit to the other guys, though, for keeping him on their leash, right? Keeping him in the loop and still using him as an alliance member and as a vote.
Do you think he is like an honorary detonator, or do you think he's still the odd man out?
I think the detonators are just a name only now.
Yeah.
I don't really think if like this week it's like Zach and Victoria on the block, Zach would go home. Like, I don't think that they would. That's not the final five.
No. So Zach, of course, uses the veto on himself, and Nicole is the one who goes up as the replacement. So on to Thursday's episode. Starts off with Nicole trying to plead her case to Christine. She says she's everyone's target, so you might as well keep her around. Whereas Donnie is targeting Christine, so she should want Donnie gone and Nicole to stay around. Makes sense, but doesn't happen. So from that Battle of the Block, we finally get to see this NFL Ultra experience, and Caleb, Christine, and Frankie get to go to the Dallas Cowboys training camp. I was kind of skeptical, but then when they showed it, it was pretty cool. Like, they got to meet Jerry Jones, they got to meet Jason Witten, Tony Romo. Who else am I forgetting there? Des Bryant. Yeah, it was. Caleb was over the moon. He loves Jerry Jones, thinks he's a boss, which he is. And what did you think of the reward? I know you don't like that when they leave the house, but
yeah, I was just gonna say that, like I said before, with like them telling them about their grandfathers dying or whatever, that the house should like just be the house. But at least it's better than when Dan got to leave the house in season 2, and in season 10, and he got to pick like a jury member to go with him on this like helicopter ride. So I mean, I still don't like it, but it didn't seem to do too much, I guess, damage to what's going on in the house.
And just so you know, NFL is coming to CBS on Thursday nights. There you go.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I don't know if they told us or not.
So Nicole ends up getting evicted unanimously. Not too big a blow to your team at this point in the game, but still, unanimous evictions are always nice for me. So the new HOH competition, the previous night, these zombies were like popping up in the mirrors all around the house. So it's this zombie apocalypse themed competition. They had to go huddle around the main screen in the living room, and these facts about the apocalypse were broadcast over the sound system. You have to remember those facts and then answer questions about them. So Frankie and Derek end up winning the HOH. First of all, I was surprised that it was still the dual HOH.
Yeah.
And then
numbers are getting thin.
I don't know what's going to happen with this Battle of the Block.
See, it was pretty funny for me. I've always thought, like, when those things pop up on the TV, like some secret message for a challenge, everyone always goes and like runs and tells the rest of the house, like, oh, there's this thing on the TV.
Yeah, true.
But like, what if they don't? I mean, I'm sure they'll show it so everybody obviously has a fair chance of seeing what's going on. But it's like, if the message is there and you're the only one, it's like 3 a.m, you're just sitting on the couch in front of the TV, then just like take advantage of that,
I agree.
I don't know if there's like a rule you have to tell everybody what's going on, but it's funny.
So with Frankie and Derek winning, it means that Team America is in power. And the next challenge is either going to be to hide someone's favorite article of clothing. And
I think it's hide one piece from everybody and then do a night watch committee.
It was one piece from everybody? I thought it was just one person's.
Oh, I heard, I don't know. I heard one piece from everybody and then do a night watch committee.
And then, yeah. Okay. I think the other one's going to win, though. I think it's going to be keep another house guest up for 24 hours straight, and between
the 3 of them, that's pretty easy to do.
And I feel
don't know, either of them are good. I mean, they don't really have much effect on the game itself.
Yeah, right.
But it should be pretty funny.
They should be able to pull it off too, I would think.
Yeah.
So the end of the episode is a sit down with Rachel Riley. I can't stand this woman, but
she's awful.
She thinks that Derek is playing the best game. So with that, I would definitely agree with her.
I agree too.
And
I mean, it's pretty obvious though. You could ask anybody.
I don't know Victoria though.
She's flying under the radar.
Just
wait for my prediction. Don't worry.
She's waiting to strike. So we also find out from Julie that it's the final Battle of the Block this week. So that means that last dual HOH came at a perfect time for me. And we also find out the first 4 jury members, so the 3 that are already gone and whoever gets voted out this week, are going to have a chance to return. I don't like it, but I am glad they're at least giving the person voted out this week a chance to come back. I remember in the first Canada season, it was Peter evicted, and he didn't have a chance to come back, and Gary just got plunked in.
Because it was a fan vote. I like how it's not going to be a fan vote, though.
Yeah, at least Frankie, I don't know. If Frankie was in there and it was a fan vote, it wouldn't be fair at all.
For sure.
With his social media mogul.
Yeah, did you know that his sister's also a mega pop star?
Ooh. Yeah, game over for that. Okay, surprises. Who do you have?
Victoria, my girl Victoria. Despite most of what we saw of her this week, just asking like what was going on in the house, we actually saw like I guess a little gameplay from her between just like stirring up drama and stuff. And also she wasn't on the block at all this week. Probably the first time in a couple weeks. So you go, girl. Good for her.
Okay, I have the Derek and Victoria alliance final two deal, quote, air quotes. I didn't know that was happening at all. I love it. Love the move for Derek. And just Derek in general, how he's really just been able to control the house, but remain like this likable guy and not be exposed.
It's to play the game he's playing and not be seen as a threat. All the kudos to him.
And also one more surprise is that despite all this unrest amongst the detonators, like it seems like they're all going after each other and they're really not the biggest fans of one another, that they're all still there. I thought at least one of them would be gone by now, but they've remained in, so I guess the alliance is working.
Yeah, they've had a couple chances to get rid of Zach, and I guess Caleb too, if you can count that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean they've stuck together.
Disappointments.
Okay, so I have two. First is Zach. Again, like, just keep your mouth shut. You don't have to tell everybody everything, because it does come back to bite you, as we saw this week. And my other disappointment was the lack of subtitles. This whole week, there was a lot of whispering and sobbing in the house, and I couldn't understand much of what people were saying. So, yeah, I should have just put my closed caption on or whatever. But
dedication.
Subtitles would have helped me this week.
Okay, I have two disappointments. The first one is that Nicole is gone. I know she was on your team, but I loved her accent.
The best accent I've ever heard in my life.
Oh my gosh. I hope she comes back.
I'm taking a road trip to Ubri. We'll film the final podcast live in Nicole's front yard.
And my second disappointment is that the returning player twist is happening. I was sort of holding my breath that it wasn't going to happen, but it's happening, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
Anyways, point recap. What's going on?
At the end of this week, I'm up 148 to 131. Again, the fact that this was the last double HOH and you got both of them really helped you, because after Sunday's episode, I was up almost 40 points. So you made a pretty big dent in that lead. So every HOH now is pretty crucial, especially considering who's left and who's on whose team. I still think you have the winner in your on your team, so I need to win as many HOHs and vetoes as possible. And just for clarification, we established that coming back into the house is worth 6 points. It's between the 7 for veto and the 5 for winning Battle of the Block. We thought that was a fair amount.
Yes, we had Brett Bone, who was on the show last week. Sort of I was really pushing for it to be like 20 points because I think my person's going to come back. But we settled on 6.
He's the arbitrator.
Yeah.
So thank you, Brett.
On to predictions. What do you think's going to happen this coming week?
So in terms of who's coming back, I think it's going to be Hayden. And in terms of who's going to go home, I think in the end it's going to be Zach or Caleb. I think Derek's going to nominate Christine and someone, Donnie maybe. And then Frankie's going to put up like Cody and Victoria. So we'll see if unless Frankie nominates first, and he just puts up Donnie and Victoria to sort of show the detonators, I guess, like that he's still with them. But some big names are going to end up on the block.
Yeah, they have to. I mean, there's no one left.
Yeah, I mean, between two HOHs, there's 8 people left, right?
Yeah.
So 6 people are going to be involved in this nomination process.
It's crazy.
And then my bold predictions. Do you want here? You do. Tell me what's going to happen next week, and then I'll tell you my bold.
Okay, I've got a bold prediction as well. I'm coming back with a vengeance on my bold prediction. Okay. First prediction is that the Team America challenge is going to be to keep someone awake, and I think they're going to keep up Zach. I think Frankie could easily just like call him up to the HOH room and talk to him all night to keep him awake, and then Frankie can sleep during the day. Donnie and Derek can take the day shift. My interpretation, well, even if the other one wins, I still think they're going to target Zach. I know you said it might be to hide one article from each player, but if it's just to take one person's thing, I think they're going to take Zach's Gator shirt, and I think whichever one happens, they're going to succeed.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that.
The nominations, again, it's tough with so many alliance members and no one's really safe except for 2 people. So I think Donnie's actually going to avoid the block with Team America being in power. And I think
when does that end though? Like, when is Team America not worth less than your game? I mean, especially there's still going to be 2 Team America people left.
Yeah.
If one of them goes home, right?
So I think it's going to be Victoria, Caleb, Christine, and then I do think Cody's going to go up because he hasn't been up yet. I think they're going to sort of force him to volunteer, maybe. And okay,
Zach, Derek might put up Zach. Just thinking.
True.
But let's see.
All right, let's do these bold predictions.
Okay, I have 2 bold predictions.
Oh my god!
It all relates to the finals. So obviously Derek and or Cody make it to final 2, but the bigger bold prediction, Victoria makes it to final 4. That's a direct deposit into the bank right there, 100%.
Victoria, final 4. But if she makes it that far, you don't think she's just going to make it to 2?
She'll make it to final 4, and then we'll see what happens.
Oh, okay.
She'll win like I said like last week. She's going to win like one of those final HOHs. She's overdue. She's a challenge beast. Her own words, right?
That's true. Ugh. All right. Ready for mine?
Yeah.
Okay. Bold prediction. One of the detonators is going to be the ones evicted this week, but...
Well, that's like 5 of 8, obviously.
Wait, that's only part 1. It's only part 1. Then, that person is just going to come right back in the house and plot against everyone else, like all the other detonators.
Okay. I mean, I think whoever's coming back into the house is going to go after the detonators anyways.
Not a fan of my bold prediction this week, eh?
I like your prediction, I just don't think it's a bold prediction. You can't just throw around bold on predictions and just say anything you want. It has to actually be a bold prediction.
It's bold. It's bold.
I don't know.
No, like...
It's not a bold... It's a prediction. It's not a bold prediction.
Two of the detonators are in power, so it's bold that they're going to take someone out.
We'll have to call in the arbitrator, Brett, again, to determine if this was a bold prediction.
Ugh. All right. Let's get them up. Okay. Anyways, that's going to do it for us with this special Skype edition of the B2M2 podcast. Don't forget to let us know in the comments some early Ariana Grande tunes that we can check out. Maybe we'll play one of them at the beginning of the next episode. But for now, I'm Michael Hoad. He's Mitchell Machtinger, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thumbs up. Thanks for listening.